is what you're going to need, as I detailed in the recipe. You're going to need a pot that's at least 1.5 gallons in size, and it's going to be lined with cheesecloths and I believe also a colander. Yes, that's, you know, spaghetti strainer. That's what we're going to pour our cheese stuff into. Now we're going to cut the milk in this pot, which is big enough to hold that 1 gallon of milk over there. And we're also going to use digital thermometer because we need to get the milk to 100 degrees. Now we have to do this slowly, and we're going to set it to 3. So we're going to slowly get it to 100. Now we're going to be using that spoon. It can be slotted if you want, but to stir the milk to keep it from scalding while it slowly heats up. Another thing that you saw in the recipe is we're going to use 1.5 cups of vinegar. That's going to create the cheese. It needs to be 5%, and Walmart's Great Value distilled vinegar is good for that. And then we're going to use baking soda and canning salt, which is going to be 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of non-iodized salt. And there's going to be 2 tablespoons of real butter or coconut oil not shown, and 2 tablespoons of cream, plus you can use anything for your flavor. Any of your spices from your spice rack that you normally cook with can easily be turned into a flavor for your cheese. So you can literally make steak seasoning cheese if you want. In our case, we bought some cheddar already made up from the store, and we're going to add that. So we got all the equipment, all the ingredients, and now we just need to follow the directions verbatim. So we need to set this to medium heat, number 3. And of course it says milk. There you go, milk is in the pot. Okay, we're going to turn on our thermometer. We're going to go ahead and get an initial reading on the milk. So the initial temperature is right around 47 degrees. And now we wait. So every 5 minutes you got to be stirring this, keep it from burning. Bet you can get away with a double boiler, but you still probably need to stir it because I bet you it sets near the bottom. So 5 minutes has gone by and we've just increased the temperature by 10-ish degrees. Five more minutes. And looks like it says 63. Looks like almost a degree a minute. Okay, it's within a few degrees of 100. As soon as it hits 100, I'm going to take it off the heat and add, oh, it's 100. Now we're going to add, first we got to turn off the heat. Add 1.5 cups of vinegar. and we're going to stir that in. So here we go, taking it off the heat. And stirring in the 1.5 cups vinegar. The vinegar is what's going to make this curd. And it should happen rather immediately. And we want to stir this for about 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah, look, wow, that's setting up fast. This is awesome. Holy smoke. This is better than using enzymes. You guys see that? Check that out. Hey, Alan from Montana, check out those curds. Okay. Man, this is... I'm just doing the instructions straight up. That's the way I have them posted on the forum. Okay, that's been roughly 2 minutes. That means the everything is there. Now, what we want to do next is we've got to let this set for 15 minutes. And that's called cooking the curd. It doesn't mean you're not adding more heat to it. You're just going to let it stand for 15 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. And we'll come back after that is done. Okay, so here we go. We've let it set for 15 minutes. And now we're going to pour it into this pot here with the cheesecloth. We're just going to sit for 10 more minutes to drain. What comes off of this is whey. And believe it or not, that whey is literally the equivalent of 0% fat milk that you buy. So you're not saving any money by buying that other kind of, that kind of milk. So why don't you just go ahead and buy whole milk, make cheese, and then take that whey, which is now completely free of everything including lactose, and drink that. Alright, we'll come back in 10 minutes after this is done draining. Here's something that didn't make it into the instruction list. Before you dump it into the microwavable container, go ahead and move your curds around. What you're looking for is pockets of whey that didn't drain out, because if you transfer this to your microwavable container with the whey in there, that whey is going to ruin the flavor of your cheese, make a soupy mess, and make you wonder what's wrong with the recipe. So once you got it drained out, transfer it to the and here it is drained out. Go ahead and you want to transfer it all into a microwavable container, like I'm going to do right here. Look at that. Off of 1 gallon of skim milk. Imagine if that was whole. 1 gallon of skim. And there's all the whey. You can feed it to your dogs, your chickens, yourself. You want to treat it like buttermilk. Now we're going to add the 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, the 1 teaspoon of the non-iodized salt, Now we're going to add real butter made from real cream from the farmer. Look at that natural yellow color. There's no added anything. That's just cream, dudes. So 2 tablespoons of this. Okay, now that we got those ingredients in, I'm going to use my hand and mash this so it's well blended. All those ingredients. Mash it, stir it. You want to get that around all those little curd grains. I was just told that if we didn't use the vinegar method, it takes about a week for the milk to clabber, to sour and set up when you leave it out on the counter. Or you can do the vinegar method and not wait. Okay. It is blended, so form it to like a lump, so to speak, and we're going to now let it set for an hour before we start the next process, which is a bunch of microwaving, beating, and flavoring, and microwaving and beating and whatnot. And we're just almost done turning this into the cheese we want. Okay, we'll see you in an hour. So let's set hour covered. Make sure you don't turn your burner on if you're leaving it on the stove. Okay. Okay, here it is after 2 hours. I know the instructions said let it sit 1 hour, but I heard that if it sits for up to 2 hours, the emulsifier has a chance to further break down the casein barriers, and that's going to create a really soft, good cheese. At the 1 hour setting, it's still going to be fairly soft, but I went ahead and took it to the max. So first thing we got to do is microwave this for 1 minute. And that's going to make it viable enough that we can beat it, mix it up. So we've microwaved it. Oh, okay, it stirs pretty easy. And beat well to mix.
Your measuring spoon.
Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of cream. Look. And our flavoring, in this case, is going to be a 1/4 cup of grated extra sharp cheese. And we're going to add a 1/2 cup of this cheese that's extra sharp cheddar, because we want this really strong. This is really not much different than what they do in the factory. They take this other cheese batter, and they add other flavorings, sometimes other cheeses. Essentially, this is homemade processed cheese, except this is more real cheese than what's at the store. Just the same, you could have put chili powder there, or blue cheese starter, or any kind of whatever you want. Here we are at the last 30-second step. Only thing to do at this point is to pour it into the mold. So the fat content on this is so high that this is going to come out like Velveeta. So I'm just going to put this in our saran wrap mold. And I'm just going to wait for it to set up. Hey, who doesn't like Velveeta anyways? There you have it. So here's all the cheese we made so far. Not counting that one. Oh yeah, and we got some more in the bottom of our refrigerator that we're letting dry out, and we're going to put a round on it, and they're going to age for 3 months to see if that improves the flavor.